Hi guys, VST here, Finance Speaks Tech. It's time for the Saturday review, and this time I have something interesting for you. This time I'm going to show the OnePlus 7 Pro, and by this time you're thinking, hell no, this guy, same phone every week. But the OnePlus 7 Pro versus the Apple iPhone 11, right? It's going to be a very nice comparison, guys, but because it's Saturday, the man has to know what he can do and he can indulge himself, so it's time for a good coffee, and I'm gonna sip myself a sip of whiskey, guys. So I'm not encouraging you to drink or not to drink, it's really up to you, but I'm gonna have a sip of whiskey while I'm doing this review, because why not? So stay tuned, sit down, sip yourself a cup of coffee or a cup of whiskey or tea or whatever your drink is or a drug, watch this video, and I hope you're gonna like it. And now it's time for us to start. First thing first, guys, is the price. The Apple iPhone 11, guys, costs about €700, and the OnePlus 7 Pro costs about the same. So that's why I decided to compare both phones, because what really drives the decision that we make often is the price. Some people have some money and then you go and you like some things, you buy those things. You can either afford them or you cannot afford them. You either buy them new or you buy them used. But if you have to buy those phones brand new, then they'll be about the same price. So the OnePlus 7 Pro is around €700 and the Apple iPhone 11 is about the same price. So price-wise, let's agree that the price is about the same. And of course, the next thing we need to speak is the design and the display, because guys, the display, let's think 1 minute, guys. The display is really the way that you experience the smartphone, right? So when you click on the smartphone, when you use the smartphone, when you interact with the smartphone, the first thing you will ever notice is the display, the size of the display, the resolution of the display, the refresh rate. So this is really the window to the world between you and the smartphone, right? And nothing really matters so much as the display, and that's why I always start with display. And here I think if I need to name a winner, guys, it's gonna be the OnePlus 7 Pro, simply because it has the 90Hz display, but it does also have a better resolution. Speaking about the resolution, here the OnePlus 7 Pro has a whopping 2K resolution, as to the Apple iPhone 11 has almost HD, it's even not above HD, so it's about like 720p. Here on the OnePlus 7 Pro, we have a 6.67-inch Quad HD Plus AMOLED display with a pixel density of 516 ppi, this is pixel per inch. And of course you can see here there is no notch, guys. So here we have also the 90Hz. The Apple iPhone on the other side features a 6.1-inch Liquid Retina LCD display, features a 6.1-inch Liquid Retina LCD display with 326 pixels per inch. So this is the pixel density. Here on the OnePlus 7 Pro, as I said, it's almost twice. And guys, this actually sounds a little bit too low for a phone that costs €700, right? But guys, this is not the first iPhone with that display. Remember, the iPhone XR was rocking the very same display. It is a very nice display. Even when you watch, you cannot tell it's just an HD display. So good it is. Of course, here we have a cleaner winner, and the winner here is called the OnePlus 7 Pro. Bigger display, no notch here thanks to the pop-up camera, better resolution here, more pixel per inch, bigger display, higher refresh rate, everything. So you name it, this one has it. The next thing I want to discuss with you guys is the design, because when you pay this top amount of dollar or euro, you need to be sure about the build quality. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to strip those phones off the cases so we can have a proper look at the design. So just bear on me one moment. Oh yeah, this is a Nuken case, by the way. You can see a video about that case here on the right side. Okay, and I'm going to also strip the case from the iPhone, which is a cellular line case, actually not a bad case as well. Okay, and now we have those phones without the cases. And guys, just let's have a look. The build quality, I mean, if we need to compare those phones, well, I tend to say that the Apple iPhone really comes a little bit on top. It has this premium aluminum chassis, it has the custom developed glass, and people from the Apple are saying that this should be really like the toughest glass in the mobile industry. Also, something about the build quality. The Apple iPhone, guys, has the IP68 rating, which means the device is water resistant out of 2 meters for close to 30 minutes. So this means that you can potentially go and swim 30 minutes with the iPhone 11 and it will hold. This one here doesn't have an official IP rating, but you know, I mean, all Chinese phones are like this, or most of the Chinese phones are like this. They have some nano coating, they're like splash proof and etc. But usually you'll not find proper certification like on the premier flagship phones like the one from Samsung or Huawei or also Apple. So in terms of build quality, although here this is really the favorite design for myself, because I like really the way the camera is put here into the center, and honestly I'm not a very big fan here on the camera, like very big cameras here, and actually this I still like, but the one that we can find on the Samsung Galaxy S20 Ultra is really something I'm not really proud of. But because this phone has really like premium materials and has all the proper ratings, I will still give the price here to the Apple iPhone, although just look at this beauty, guys. The OnePlus 7 Pro is absolutely perfect, and if this phone would have had an IP68 rating, I think that it probably would have had all. But of course, there is something to consider, guys. This phone really costs about the same, so the build quality of those phones is very similar. I think design-wise, this phone looks better, it is the better phone. So in terms of build quality, I would say it's even, because although the OnePlus 7 Pro doesn't have the IP68 rating, it still has a very nice build quality, and compared to the Apple iPhone 11, I think it has still everything that can make for an even result. Some interesting facts: Apple people are saying that the aluminum material that is used here on the iPhone 11 is 100% recyclable, and they say that also the display is highly recyclable. It doesn't have arsenic, mercury, BFR, PVC, beryllium, and it also involves a low carbon process when it's manufactured. I think if phones have like some eco rating, then probably this phone will have a better rating than the OnePlus 7. Now let's speak about the processors in those phones. The OnePlus 7 Pro is running on the latest Snapdragon 855, or it was the latest before this year, because right now we officially have the Snapdragon 865. On the other hand here, the Apple iPhone is running on the new Apple A13 Bionic, and Apple actually claims that this is 20% faster than the old Bionic, which was the Apple Bionic A12 processor. Now people do say that because the way that Apple is building their own processor for their own phones and OS, the experience is a lot smoother than on other phones, but I can tell you guys that the Snapdragon 855 is powerful enough to give you a very smooth experience, and on top, while you have also the 90Hz in the phone, they will make it for a very nice experience. And probably this can be also seen, you know, when scrolling here. Really, the 90Hz on the OnePlus 7 Pro are making for a very fast experience. Now there is also some interesting fact here, guys. Here we have 8GB of RAM. We have less on the Apple iPhone 11, but it doesn't matter really how many gigabytes you put in an iPhone, they all work really flawless, and especially the Apple iPhone 11 with the A13 is a nice performer. So I would say that in terms of processing power, those phones pretty much have the same capabilities. And now let's speak about my favorite domain, which you all know is the camera. So cameras, I'm a great fan of smartphone cameras. The OnePlus 7 Pro, guys, sports a triple camera, which you can see here. So it has a 48 megapixel sensor. The sensor here is from Sony. It's the Sony IMX586. It has an aperture of f1.6, a laser autofocus, a PDF, so face detection autofocus. It has also optical image stabilization. It does have a second telephoto lens, which is 8 megapixel, and the second telephoto lens has an aperture of f2.4. It has 3 times optical zoom, it has also PDF, and it has also OIS. And then it has a third lens, which is 16 megapixel ultra wide lens, and it has an aperture of f2.2 on its own. It also has a dual LED tone flash, it has HDR. It's pretty much a very capable camera, guys. On the front, we have a front camera, and actually let me just show you guys, this is quite neat. The front camera here is actually a pop-up, right? You see what happens here, and this is why actually we can enjoy really like this really nice and notchless display. So the front camera here is 16 megapixel. It does have a Sony IMX471 sensor and an aperture of f2.0. It does also come with 4K recording. It does have all the night Skype things, so it is a very capable camera. When we go here and just show you guys all the stock settings, so we can shoot 4K video on 60 frames, we can shoot normal photos, we have panoramas, we have the night Skype, we have also portrait mode, we have pro mode, and the pro mode, guys, is very nice on the OnePlus 7 Pro because you can manually control the aperture, you can manually control the level of the auto white balance, you can manually control the focus, also the ISO, so it does give you a lot of options, and it also has a slow motion option. So this is, I think, a huge advantage on the OnePlus 7 Pro. It does really offer some manual experiences when you work with the stock camera. And of course, another very big experience here and very big benefit is that you can also run the Google camera on this device, which means that you can get hold of and you can get the benefit from the Google HDR Plus enhanced mechanism. Let's talk now about the camera that is featured on the Apple iPhone 11. So this new iPhone 11 has a dual camera setup, as you can see here. We do have a 12 megapixel ultra-wide camera with an aperture of f2.4, 5-element lens and 120-degree field of view, guys, and also a 12 megapixel wide camera with aperture 1.8 and 6-element lens, and of course optical image stabilization sensors. It does have a 2x optical zoom out, but digital zoom out you can go up to 5x. This camera can also shoot portrait pictures with advanced bokeh effects and depth control. You have portrait lighting with 6 effects here, like the natural, the studio ones, the stage, the mono, the high key. It does have also the night mode, which is activated automatically if you shoot in some low light conditions, but there is also the option for you to manually enable it, which is pretty much good. The iPhone camera has also some very nice addition. There is an option called composition. When you go into the camera menu, you can apparently also capture outside of the frame. So let's say you shoot a picture, which will allow you later to apply some more advanced cropping and really like iron out the whole image. So this is quite nice extra, and apparently this also works for video. So apparently you can also shoot videos with capturing outside the frame. It does of course has the smart HDR recording of the video. Of course you can also go and shoot 4K at 60 FPS. You have here 4K at 24 FPS, which you don't have here on the OnePlus 7 Pro. 4K at 24 FPS is very interesting because the selection of 24 frames per second kind of gives a cinematic touch to the video you're shooting. And by the way, into the latest Google Camera Edition, I think into the Gcam 7.3, there is a new mode introduced by Google, and it is exactly the same, shooting at 24 FPS. In general, speaking about the camera, I would say that both phones have great cameras. I honestly prefer the Apple iPhone 11 when taking pictures. Actually, the video on the iPhone 11 is also very nice. I think Apple devices have one of the best videos out there. The camera on the OnePlus 7 Pro gives me some mixed feelings. In most of the cases it will do the job, but sometimes you will just end up with blown highlights, or let's say the auto-white balance will not be correct. Specifically when shooting into some dark areas with artificial light is where you can really see some of the pictures that come out from this phone have a yellow tint. And of course here we have the Google camera, which kind of like makes it even. At the end, honestly, I will choose the OnePlus 7 Pro because of the triple camera setup and the wide and ultra-wide camera. Now we need to speak about something interesting, and this is actually what drives those phones. So of course, you know, one thing is the CPU and the system on a chip, the other thing is the battery that is inside those phones. And you know the story, guys, Apple never mentions officially how much they put here in terms of milliampere. The only thing you can hear from Apple is 1 day battery, you know, or all day battery, and this is pretty much also the direction that Samsung is taking. But people do claim that inside the Apple iPhone 11 we have 3110 mAh, and actually the OnePlus 7 Pro here is the winner because here we have a whooping 4000 mAh. But you know, the funny part is that although the battery here is smaller in terms of capacity, the phone will last about the same because the 90Hz display and the high resolution on this phone will really drain the battery faster. And also on the other hand, here we have better optimization since they're using the Apple iOS and they do have their own processors, and pretty much everything is developed custom tailored for the Apple iPhone. Still, for me, the OnePlus 7 Pro is the winner here with a bigger battery. Another important element is the security, and this is really how we do interact with our phones, how quickly we can interact with our phones. But if you need to unlock the phone, you know, what are the ways? And I can show you guys, the OnePlus 7 Pro has a fingerprint scanner reader implemented in the screen. What I don't like about this phone is the following. Look, when you take the phone, you can unlock it, all right? But when the phone is still and you press, nothing will happen. Unlike in Xiaomi where, you know, you just press and it works. You have to lift up the phone and then screen is activated. The Apple iPhone 11 doesn't have a fingerprint scanner inside. Actually, no iPhone has it, but they have the Face ID, and Face ID is absolutely great. Last but not least is the sound of the phones. Now the OnePlus 7 Pro has a dual speaker setup, and even more, it has Dolby Atmos. And when you click Dolby Atmos, you can choose a lot of settings. So here on the Apple iPhone 11, you just have an equalizer, no Dolby. But let me play the song for you, and then hopefully you can judge by yourself. So let's play the first song here. Okay, this has been the OnePlus 7 Pro. I am playing the same song here. Let's go somewhere in the middle, like exactly same section. definitely more bass into the phone here. So I do think that the Apple iPhone 11 is winning, not by much, but still it does have a more richer sound and especially more bass, so you can feel it when you listen from this phone. Now it's time for the recap, and what can I tell you guys? Honestly, if I need to give a very straight answer, yes or no, no or yes, I'm going to always prefer the OnePlus 7 Pro, only because look at this. It does look really stunning with this notchless display. Honestly, for me, the better phone is little OnePlus 7 Pro. I'm not a big fan here of the notch, and for me, this looks like the legacy. I really hope that you enjoyed this video, guys. By the time this video is about to end, my whiskey is also about to end, so I hope for you to get a very nice weekend, and I want to thank you pretty much for staying throughout the whole video and for watching my videos, guys. I hope again that you liked it and enjoyed. VST over and bye.